So, you've purchased or are about to purchase Elden Ring. Good choice. But From Software games are notorious for being obscure, which is part of the charm. So you're wondering, hey, is there anything I should know going into Elden Ring? Well, lowly Tarnished, yes. Yes, indeed there is. At the beginning of From Software games, you're typically presented with a starting gift you can choose between. In Elden Ring, these choices are Crimson Amber Medallion, Lands Between Rune, Golden Seed, Fanged Imp Ashes, Cracked Pot, Stone Sword Key, Bewitching Branch, Boiled Prawn, and Shabriri's Woe. So, which to choose? If you enjoy the idea of being able to explore hidden areas right away, you might like the Stone Sword Key. These allow you to access various areas in the game that are locked away by imps that have good loot and sometimes horrendous bosses behind them. However, while these are somewhat rare, you'll be able to find plenty of them as you explore the lands between, and enough that you won't need this option. There's the Fanged Imp Ashes if you want help right off the bat with Spirit Ashes. However, you can't summon Spirit Ashes right away, which I'll get to later in the video. So honestly, this one doesn't matter too much. The Crimson Amber Medallion can be tempting as it raises your HP, however there's a far better choice, the Golden Seed. This little guy right here is your answer. While you'll find golden seeds sprinkled throughout the game, they are far more limited, and golden seeds are your ticket to upgrading your Flasks of Tears, which you use in game to heal and recover focus points. By using a golden seed, you'll be able to add more charges to your flask, which is something you'll desperately want as you travel deeper and deeper into dungeons. These charges are your lifeblood and way to explore or keep fighting a boss, as they can wreck you pretty quickly. And speaking of golden seeds, these are definitely something you're going to want to look for. You start Elden Ring with just 4 charges to your Flask of Tears that you can distribute between them. Golden seeds can typically be found by exploring the world of the lands between and finding tiny little Erd trees outside, which will always have a golden seed underneath. There are other ways to find them, such as drops from certain bosses or even NPC quest lines, but do yourself a favor and explore the map for these. While you'll probably find many of them just by naturally progressing and completing various dungeons, if you are stuck, you can always take a break and go explore unexplored territories for these. Oh, and golden seeds aren't your only way to upgrade your Flasks of Tears. You can also find Sacred Tears, which upgrade how much each chug of your, tears do? Wow, I just realized you're drinking your own tears in this game. Anyways, Sacred Tears can be found in various churches throughout the lands between. Not every church has one, but many do, and these churches can be found simply by, you guessed it, exploring. While character creation at the beginning of Souls games usually aren't the most important, as you can allot stats as you level up and can pretty well redo your build as you go, if you aren't happy with how you've chosen to stat yourself out or your build, fortunately Elden Ring has a way to completely respec your character. That's right, later in the game you'll find an NPC, I'm not allowed to show, that will allow you to respec your stats. You'll need to give this NPC a specific item to do this, an item that's fairly rare. So I don't think you'll have unlimited respecs, but you do at least get a few if you want it. You can even change your character's appearance at this NPC if you decide you're not happy with how you made them look. And this time, it's free of charge. Oh baby. Hit an NPC and piss them off? Don't worry. I mean, don't do that, but don't worry. I made that mistake. I did it. It was me. In my defense, the NPC was trapped and I was trying to see if I could get them out. Okay, let's move on before I dig myself a deeper hole. Once you piss off an NPC, they are permanently aggroed at you. Or are they? As has become standard in From Software games, there is a way to unaggro NPCs who you've accidentally pissed off. Go find yourself the Church of Vows. I'm not going to spoil where it's located, but once you find this church, you'll be able to atone for your sins. As a note, you'll need an item to do this, which, as you may have guessed, is limited and rare. So, we've been talking about how Elden Ring is an RPG and you can level up or redistribute your stats. But something that's kinda important to note is that you can't level up right away. If you're new to these games, exploring the dungeons and getting frustrated by dying and losing your runes without being able to really use them, here's how you get the ability to level up. Rest at 3 sites of grace. Not 1, not 2, but 3.
3 3 shall be the number thou shalt count, and the number of the counting shall be 3.
Once you've done that, you'll be given a visit by Melina, who will grant you the ability to turn your runes into strength, aka levels. From Software games have dabbled with needing torches to a various degree ever since Dark Souls 2. However, Elden Ring is the first one where you will truly, consistently want one. There are some dungeons that are pretty much pitch black without one. So do yourself a favor and buy yourself a torch the first chance you get, which is likely at Kale the Merchant. And you know what? It's only 200 runes, and well worth it. So remember how earlier in the video I mentioned you can't use Spirit Ashes right away? To do that, you'll need to find a Spirit Calling Bell. And in order to find it, well, that's a bit of a spoiler to be honest. So I'm going to give you some advice, doing my best to avoid spoilers and leave it fairly vague. I hope that helps. Every so often, try to go back to the Church of Ella for a secret surprise. There are various NPCs you'll meet across your time exploring the lands between. Several of these are linked in ways to the region's legacy dungeons. For example, you'll find a girl at Stormhill Shack who's intricately tied to the boss of the area, Godric, and even explains her internal debate about being grafted. By defeating the area's major legacy dungeon boss, Godric, you'll progress her storyline one way or another. There are things you can do to alter her storyline before you defeat Godric, so you'll probably want to try and do that first. And she isn't the only NPC questline whose progress is tied to defeating a major boss. So take it from me as a warning if you want to see everything these NPCs have to offer, try to see if you can figure out some of their storylines before defeating those legacy bosses. Of course, if you don't care about these storylines, all good, but if you do, this is definitely a helpful bit of knowledge. Okay, you did it. You finally defeated your first legacy dungeon boss and have obtained their remembrance. You can do one of 3 things with these remembrances. 1. You can use them right away to gain a huge number of runes. 2. You can find an NPC in the game's main hub who allows you to turn the boss's remembrance into one of 2 special unique boss items. Or 3. You can hold on to it forever so you can always read the item description and be reminded of its lore. That's what I do. That's me. Anyways, I recommend you be like me. Do as I do. Not for the lore part, but because as it turns out, you can find mausoleums that allow you to duplicate a boss's remembrance. Meaning, you can actually get both of their unique boss items. Or get one and spend the other on runes. Or be like me and just hold on to both of them forever. I don't know. I'm the type of person who never uses major healing items in RPGs because I panic that I'm going to run out. And there you have 9 things I wish I knew before playing Elden Ring. Elden Ring is absolutely massive, and these tips are just the tip of the iceberg to get you started and exploring the world. I hope it helps, and I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned to GameSpot as we have much more Elden Ring content on the way.